Não, esse aqui é do transmissão de alguém que ainda não presidiu.
Ah, é? Tem mais essa?
É.
Aqui no Splash em qualquer lugar?
Isso.
Acho que costuma, né?
Eu não sei se vai ter apresentação, eu não sei.
No programa, né? Deixa eu ver.
Não, eu pus aquele filminho lá. Será que legal?
Ô, Fernando.
Obrigado por ter vindo. Estamos só deitando aqui, né? Será que
Talvez eu acho que eu fico muito dentro, né? Todos lá.
Pelo amor de Deus. Eu ia falar para deixar meio pausado e minimizado.
internacional? Eu pensei por isso agora que você mandou ontem e falou disso aí, eu achei que ia ser legal. Eu não sabia que ia ter condições. Em geral, eu prefiro falar falando. Só isso.
Aí isso é só na play.
A apresentação também, né?
Também, né? Já deixa no.
Perfeito, né?
É, aí é só F5.
Pronto. Agora minimiza.
Minimiza. Aí, isso, aí você deixa. Aí só, quer até abrir, né? Você faz o negócio.
Vem cá, Fernando, vamos ver se. Deixa eu voltar para a peça.
Aí é bom também.
Qual que é o?
Tem o Google, o Ed e o Google.
O japonês aqui não vai dar. Fica com o carro, eu vou dar tudo. Okay. Good morning. Eu acho que os dois ligados não pode ficar. Ainda distância? Yeah. So, good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to have all of you here in this session. We are going to discuss a little bit the possibilities to foster our relationships in terms of cooperation on students' mobility, research, and different kinds of possibilities that we can discuss about. In this session, we are going to proceed like this. Firstly, I'm going to introduce a little bit the University of São Paulo, to who doesn't know, and this is a quick presentation, very quick presentation. And then I will ask Professor Oneda to talk about a little bit about our cooperation and Tsukuba University. Then Professor Fernando Menezes from FAPESP, who is a state agency to support research and activities, is going to say some guides about these possibilities. And then the sections will be open to everybody. Professor Klaus is going to start introducing the colleagues from Japan, and then our colleagues from USP in this room will be invited also to introduce themselves. So, and in the meantime, I will leave for a while the room with Professor Oneda for a meeting, and then we will be back. Okay. So I think that everything is going to be all right. So let me start. Excuse me. It's not that. It's this. Let me start give you some information about our university. In this picture, you can see Brazil, a part of Brazil, the state of São Paulo in blue, and inside it's the campuses of our university. We are in the, let me see if this, okay, we are here in São Paulo. This is the main campus of our university. And there are 7 other cities around the state where we have faculties, schools, and colleges of our university. So in just a few minutes, don't be worried about, I will be right quick as much as possible. At a glance, firstly, our university was founded in 1934, which is a new university in terms, but not so new in terms of Brazil in terms. We have 48 units. Units, we say schools, faculties spread in the campuses of our university. 67 physical libraries, 5 hospitals, 19 museums. These are the names of the cities where we have campuses of our university. And okay, these are faculties, schools, and institutes that we have among that 48 units. So we cover almost all fields of knowledge, and so it depends on your interest. We have the schools, the faculties that we could connect to and put you in contact with them. It depends on the area of interests of yours. So we have 3 schools of medicine, for instance, 3 schools of engineering. So let me tell you that we have around 100,000 students considered undergraduate, 60% are around undergraduate students belonging to 332 programs, undergraduate programs, and about 30,000 students in the postgraduate course, master's and doctoral course. So this is our community of students, a very large community. USP is among the 100 universities in the world, ranked in the world, independent, of course, of the ranking, but this is related to QS world ranking. And now I'm going to tell you a little bit about our agents, Alcani. It's international agents for agents for international cooperation and national cooperation as well. And this picture here shows you the links that we have with several countries all over the world. So you have here Japan, of course, a line. So the countries where we have universities in cooperation with us. So our office is in this center. We are, I think, behind the center in another building behind this room here. And our vision is internationalization as a next strategy to achieve fundamental institutional goals. Our mission is the consolidation of an international academic environment at USP, which means that we want to improve our cooperations. And I must say that we have strategic partners, and Japan is, of course, one of the strategic partners in our cooperation activities. The activities that we do in our Alcani agents, we are in charge of agreements, academic agreements in networks of universities. We are in charge also of the students' mobility programs, language education. I mean, we have a language sector for education in English and Spanish. And we have a sector of academic reception for the students come from abroad to our university, so helping them to have a visa, for instance, Brazilian visa. And of course, we have a communication sector, which is responsible for, let's say, organizing this kind of event. Let me just give you an example of the joint calls that we have with universities. These are special programs run by our agents. In this case, groups of we open calls for projects to be applied, and these projects have to have groups for both universities combining and proposing a certain research thematic, and we have funds. And FAPESP, for some of them, support as well. And these projects, every year we have calls opened for 1 year or 2 years long cooperation projects. Of course, we could add here, hopefully, a joint call Japan, USP, for instance. Okay. What are our perspectives? Continue to provide opportunity to our students to develop international intercultural skills. How we can do that? Promoting activities of research, joint calls, language education, mobilities of students and staff, workshops, conferences, and so on. We are now very involved in the internationalization at home, which has some aims, which is provide opportunity for all of our students to gain international literacy, because we don't have, of course, enough funds to send all of the students on abroad, but we can promote the opposite, bring the internationalization inside the university. That is the idea. And that's why it's so nice to have you here as well. This is a good example. And the challenges for that, transform our curricula in something more international. Of course, each faculty of that are working on that or has already done some, so let's say, courses in English, for instance. And expand the double degrees partnerships. and improves, of course, access to language and Portuguese for people coming from abroad. Okay. And finally, I would like to tell you about this internationalization at home. This is the USP International Intercultural Center. Professor Marli Babinski, who is here, is my deputy responsible for the center. Professor Paulo Braz is here as well. He is responsible for the mobility programs in our agents. But this center is in our building, the first floor. I would recommend you to have a look on that. It's very interesting. In this place here, this room here, we have corners from partner countries or partner universities. This corner here is, let's say, is a kind of 12 square meters space, which is where the invited partners are invited to put down some cultural aspects, some information for our students to go there and to take knowledge about that culture. This is for France. This is for India. This is corner of India, the corner of Ireland, corner of Israel, corner of Korea. And these corners, they are not just a stand. Leave it there. Each corner promotes cultural activities from time to time. I'm going to show this. For instance, India has promoted this, an event of music and dance. This is Ireland dance music and as well. This is from India, yoga class for our staff and academics to practice. I think that Professor Marli is enthusiastic of that. And this is the Korea demonstration of culture. So this is it. And I just would like to conclude with 3 minutes, if you allowed me, 3 more minutes of a movie. And let's go. It's some music to relax a little bit and see good images of our agents. Okay? So, yes. Okay. So, this is it. And nice music, isn't it? And so now I invite Professor Oneda to...
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor Sergio Proenza. Is that true? Yes. Bon dia. Good morning. My name is Osamu Oneda, Director of the South America Office and also Director of the Bureau of the Global Initiatives at the University of Tsukuba. On behalf of the University of Tsukuba, I would like to express my gratitude to all of you who joined today and are receiving us at the University of São Paulo. And I also would like to very much happy to take 7 universities professors here today, and they are working on the variety of the field of the science, and later they let you know about that. And I hope that you have the good matching and start to have the collaboration. And actually, I also very much found happy to find my nice old friend sitting there. And as Sergio Sensei showed us that the USP campus is so huge. And we have the office in here, Aokani, and we try to move to the old campus, but I just go to here and also the campus in Ribeirão Preto. It was so huge, both are so huge. So I think that everybody can join when you visit here, so try to have the good co-relationship so far from now on. And I also like to mention about our Study in Japan program that we are working on, promoted by the Japanese Ministry of Education, so-called MEXT. The Study in Japan Global Network established in the 2015 in this South America area, and we organize this Study in Japan fair. And the main purpose of this Study in Japan is to take our universities, Japanese university professors here, and talk to students or professors and let them know about the Japanese culture and Japanese study means the science, and try to have the good relationship. And I'm very happy to see that Sergio Sensei showed that now they have the change. You change that the internationalization idea, right? You invite, bring the many students and professors in USP. Yeah. So I also like to know that probably this might help us to have the good co-relationship. And then today, I hope that not just our professors and side, but also that the students and the staff exchange might occur individually. And we are especially grateful for the opportunity to have the presentation from the FAPESP. FAPESP support to have the mutual collaboration. So probably FAPESP explain in detail how to create the matching both universities. And we also started from around I forgot the exact year, but probably 2007? 17, yes. And I know that several professors use this FAPESP grant and have a mutual relationship and have already got success together. So I think that our delegation from Japan will probably feel happy after this event. And the time is very limited, but I think we can make the most effort together our activities for our futures. Once again, we are glad for your friendship and support. And now, in the future, muito obrigado.
And before asking for Professor Fernando, just let me inform you that we have today in cooperations with 37 universities in Japan. We have almost 66 agreements signed, which means that the same university in Japan can have more than one agreement. But 37 universities over there is really a strong cooperation. So now I am going to invite Professor Fernando to talk about FAPESP.
Good morning. Thank you, Sergio, for this invitation. I'm very glad to be here. I'm very glad to have your delegation very honored with your visit. The relationship with Japan is very special for us here in São Paulo, the University of São Paulo, the São Paulo Research Foundation. You certainly know about our history of proximity and friendship with Japan, and especially our capital, the city of São Paulo, was proud to say that it used to be the biggest city, the biggest Japanese city outside Japan. And our university in particular has a very strong Japanese community. I will talk a bit about our research foundation called FAPESP, Fundação de Amparo à Pesquisa do Estado de São Paulo. FAPESP is a foundation created by the state of São Paulo, independent from the universities, but completing with them a very important structure to finance and to do research in the state of São Paulo. FAPESP is the part of this structure which finances research. FAPESP is a foundation that does not do research. We don't have researchers in our team, but we are an agency that receives an important budget from the state of São Paulo, directly given to researchers from all kinds of research institutions in the state of São Paulo, public or private, universities or not, even companies. Our criteria is exclusively the merit of the quality of the research project. And we are legally limited to have this legal relation with a researcher that is based in the state of São Paulo. The research itself can be made elsewhere. And frequently we work with international partners. In these occasions, we can match funds And we are really flexible to try to see in which way we can best cooperate. FAPESP has a very particular provision in the Constitution of the state of São Paulo. That's something very, very unusual, but the Constitution of São Paulo, you know Brazil is a federation. Each state member of the federation has its own constitution. And we have a provision that says that 1% of all tax revenues of the state of São Paulo, this 1% is directed to the budget of FAPESP, which is an important amount of money, mainly considering that this is a money purely directed to research. We cannot support administrative structures, or we cannot pay salaries of researchers. And we are limited to 5% of this budget as administrative expenses of FAPESP itself. So at least 95% of this total amount is money freely directed to research. As I told you, the criteria is submitting research projects that are analyzed in a peer review system. And when we have international agreements, we easily discuss with the partner the criteria of selection. We are also flexible in this sense to try to see with the partner a common way of selecting this project. FAPESP tools of financing, I will show you in our website where to find all this information, goes from scholarships for undergrad students, master, PhD, or postdoc students, or researchers, scholarships, and grants to research. And we can mix these two ideas, having scholarships as budgetary items of a research grant, but always through research. And these research grants goes from small research grants, for instance, to 1 year, 2 year projects, till 10-year projects. So as we have this stability, this budgetary stability, we can have a long-term planning. The financial size of this project are from something simple, such as organizing a scientific meeting, to buying an oceanographic ship, or a huge, or participating in a huge telescope, normally abroad, not in Brazil, due to geographical situations. For instance, we are part of several international consortia in Chile to build these huge telescopes. But all areas of knowledge. FAPESP is open to all areas of knowledge. Just to show you just to give you some indication, you can have in our website, I can tell you later, or Sergio can send you this information, FAPESP.br, and we have an English version, naturally. In our website, you will find all kinds of tools we have to support research. And maybe I can just show you our international cooperation map. We have strong relations abroad. If you want to see each case you can search by discrete criteria, but for instance, to see Japan, we have agreements with funding agencies or directly agreements with universities, for instance, Tsukuba, as you kindly mentioned. And if you, through this link, you can have, just an example, you can have access to the text of the agreement and to the results, to the movements we have applying the agreement. In our website, you will find also a link to what we call a virtual library. There's an English version, naturally. And in our virtual library, we can find every single project ever financed by FAPESP, and you can search, for instance, to partner and see the results, or to, if I just mention, for instance, Japan, or Tsukuba, University of Tsukuba, we can identify even concretely each cooperation we've had with an abstract of the research project and the results. So considering the planning of our meeting, I wanted just to give you these highlights. Of course, I can give you more detailed information, and we will send you the links to all this information I've just mentioned. And thank you again for your visit and your attention now.
Thank you very much, Fernando. Very nice presentation. And so the website is fapesp.br, and I think that you can visit, and it's quite interesting. So now we move to the main discussions. I would like to invite Professor Klaus to come for the guidance of the next step of our meeting. So thank you all.
So, hello everyone. So I'm really happy to be here to talk about the discussions between the professors. As you just heard, Tsukuba University and many other universities in Japan, we have agreements with FAPESP, we have agreements with USP. FAPESP also has agreements with JSPS and JST. So there are many avenues for us to collaborate. But this collaboration must begin with the meeting of professors that have similar fields of interest. So what I want to do right now is to do a brief introduction of the researchers participating in this meeting. So I will ask first the researchers from Japan to quickly introduce themselves and the areas where they're looking for collaboration. And after that, we will have the introductions from the researchers from USP. Now, we don't have a lot of time. We have about 30 minutes. So I would like to ask each professor to limit their self-introduction to about 1 minute. Do you say anything, Rodrigo?
No, just pointing 1 minute. We really have to keep time. I'm sorry for that.
Thank you.
And I'll be in charge of introducing the
Okay.
platform.
Fantastic. All right, so I would like to first call Professor Okada Isamu from the Graduate School of International Development. So please, Rodrigo, do we have a Wi-Fi mic?
Oh, shall we begin? Okay. Bon dia. Good morning, everyone. I'm Isamu Okada from Nagoya University. The Nagoya University, one of the 37 universities which has the international agreement with the University of São Paulo. I'm glad of that, and I'm really happy to be here today. Let me introduce myself and my graduate school very briefly. I'm from the Graduate School of International Development, specialized in the development studies. We are ranked between the 50 to 100 in the ranking of the QS World Survey. We have 20 faculty members specialized in the broad range of the social sciences. I'm a political scientist, but we also have a sociologist, law, education, economist, and other varieties of the scholars. A bit of my intention for kind of the current research project, I'm doing a lot of the Latin American politics subjects, but I'm kind of challenging now to bridge the East Asian and Latin American scholars toward kind of direct connections. As you know, that we are transitioning in the energy sense, like we are decarbonizing era, and of course the East Asian investors, the industrialization is one of the promoter, but also we have a direct and close relationship with Latin American countries, starting with Brazil, and the supply of material energy and the scientific transfer, knowledge transfer, and etc. But academic, and particularly in the social science communities, we seldom have a direct linkage between these two regions. We are organizing a series of workshops. We are challenging to launch next event in Colombia this August. If you're interested, I'm very happy to share the call for papers. And that is not the end. We have other series of collaboration, bringing Latin American scholars to East Asian countries, or bringing Asian scholars to Latin America to establish the new academic community, particularly trying to project a new idea, new perspective from these two regions, not the close the intervention like what we call the classic Western academic communities, but we also aspire to have like more international standard level the research collaborations. So if you're interested, that is kind of energy transition project that I'm engaging right now, and that is, I think that's all for my introduction. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Okada. Next, I would like to call Professor Takemura Yasunori from Nishi Nippon Institute of Technology. Pode reduzir pouquinho o som desse microfone?
Good morning, everyone. So I'm Yasunori Takemura from the Nishi Nippon Institute of Technology. So this, my university is south of the island of the Japan. So 1 minute is very difficult to introduce, but my university's main topic is design and technology, and also I will working in some robotics. So we promote about the robotics competition. For example, some battle robot is a robot sumo competition. Maybe this is very famous in the Brazil. And also I will promote about how implement in the robot in the society. So for example, I will promote the agricultural robot. For example, tomato harvesting robot, or some forest drone competition or something. So if I have some collaborate with some Brazilian, some robotics society, so I'm glad to come to the Brazilian, Brazilian robotics society. So thank you for attention.
Okay, so the next I would like to call Professor Kawabata Hiroaki from Aichi Prefectural University.
Good morning, everyone. Bon dia a todos.
I would like to talk a little about my university. Currently, I am vice rector of the university, at the same time head of the Office of Global Strategy. And I would like to begin with explaining a little how much engaged our university is in Brazil. First of all, our rector actually is leading a very huge research project related to Brazilian haiku, because he is a scholar of Japanese literature. And we have two professors from Brazil. One of them is a very famous translator at the same time here in Brazil of Murakami Haruki. His name is Eunice Suenaga. And we have another professor from Brazil sent by Brazilian government as, I don't know how to say it in English, leitorado, programa leitorado. And as for me, my contact with Brazil began in 1991, 92. Actually, I lived for a long time in Latin America, and I am a scholar of constitutional law. And we have 5 faculties on foreign studies, Japanese studies, nursing and welfare, and education, and information science and technology. I hope we have a little bit more time to talk about our characteristics of institution and to seek some kind of cooperation. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Professor Kawabata. Next, I would like to call Professor André Cruz from Kyoto Prefectural University.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thanks for the preference today. It's my pleasure to stay here to introduce my university and my projects. Basically, I'm working on a sustainable agriculture. Sustainable agriculture. So how can we make a sustainable food production and to try to decrease the utilization of chemical pesticides and chemical fertilizers? And there are several indicators for this. I basically work on the soils. But of course, more than that, I have worked on the fruits, on the fruit quality, and so on. So I'm happy to be here. Inclusive, I have already some contacts at Exalc, the USP unit in Piracicaba, who we are trying to work on many projects of this. And I hope we can find some financial for this. But the interest point is this. I try to get the technology developed in Japan, as I have access on that, and try to apply here. That's one of my objectives. So when we're talking about that, then we can, both countries, both Japan and Brazil, will get benefits from that. That's my expectation of that. Okay? So basically, that's what I say. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Professor Andrea. Next, I would like to call Professor Urushima Andrea. So Andrea is from Kyoto Seika University.
Good morning. For me, it's a big pleasure to be here because I studied at Faculty of Architecture and Urbanism here in USP. So for me, after 20 years, not coming back. So now I'm a lecturer at the Human Environmental Design program. And actually, I've been collaborating with USP since many years ago. We had a symposium with funding from FAPESP. We brought professors from Japan to Brazil. It was the centenary of Japanese immigration. And then we continued with a series of seminars, and we invited professors from USP to come to Japan, to Kyoto, including Professor Hugo Segal, who is here present. And so I want to continue this type of collaboration. The way we've been doing my specialty is more related to regional development, urban and regional studies. And now we are trying, even with Hugo, to discuss how we can link together regional and urban development with the flow of material and people. We are discussing about timber development or other types of products. So I would be glad to open up this discussion to anyone willing to join us, and hope we can find partnerships. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Andrea. And next, I would like to call Professor Altaf Uf Amin from Nara Institute of Science and Technology.
Yeah, thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk here. So I have come from Nara Institute of Science and Technology. This is in Nara, and here we can see that we have a very compact and beautiful campus. And we have 3 graduate schools, mainly material science, bioscience, and information science. So we have only graduate programs, so as you can assume that we are working only on advanced science and technology area in these 3 major areas. And I am from the information science. So maybe for other information, you can browse the website of Nara Institute. We have different laboratories. And personally, I am working in computational systems biology lab. So this is systems biology. Under systems biology, we are doing variety of researches. Especially, we are trying to analyze genomics, omics data, genomics, transcriptomics, proteomics, and metabolomics data. And we are just trying to identify the genes and pathways related to different diseases and leading to drug development from that. And also, initially, I worked on protein-protein interaction networks, or you can say network biology, different types of networks. We created omics entities, involving omics entities. And for NICE, we already have collaboration with, some collaboration and MOU with University Federal de Sao Paulo. So maybe also we can try to make an MOU with USP, this university, I think. And we do also research under systems biology. We do research bioinformatics, means involving the genetics data, and also we are doing research on biomedical engineering. For example, supervised and unsupervised clustering of different types of images, histopathological images, X-ray images, PET images for diagnosis of cancer and other complicated diseases. So there are different areas. There are different possibility of collaboration in different areas. So we can discuss. I think I tried to introduce what I am doing. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, I would like to call Professor Felipe Sandoval from the Faculty of Medicine of the University of Tsukuba.
Thank you. Yes, recently actually we changed the name from Faculty of Medicine to the Institute of Medicine. I work there especially about public health, particularly mental health for older populations. I used to work for JICA back in my home country, Chile, and then I went to Japan in 2009, and I have been there since then. And I hope if you have some interest in public health or age-friendly cities, please reach out. I'm happy to collaborate about SDGs or sustainable development. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Extremely efficient. Okay, and just to finish the list of professors in Japan, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Klaus Aranha. I'm with the Department of Computer Science at the University of Tsukuba. I have done collaborations under the spring with Unicamp on the simulation of soccer games. And after that, I did some collaborations with the University of Brasilia on optimization based on evolutionary computation. Right now, I'm doing a collaboration with the USP São Carlos, Professor André Luiz, on the field of automatic generation of virtual cities and these artificial scenarios. In general, I work with multi-agent systems and evolutionary computation and artificial life. So if you're interested in these fields, I would love to talk more and discuss possible collaborations. In addition, I would also be happy to introduce all the professors of the computer science department at the University of Tsukuba. Some of our strengths are highly parallel, high-performance computer science systems, computational sciences, and artificial intelligence and robotics in general. Thank you very much, and I hope that we can have more productive conversations from now on. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Aranha, for all the Japanese professors that are joining us today. Now, not any less important, the professors that are here today from Japan are looking forward for meeting all of you from USP, so it is my honor to be the moderator and introduce the professors that are here with us today. I would like to call to stage Professor Antônio Pazin Filho from the Faculty of Medicine of Ribeirão Preto to perform a 1-minute small introduction of your research interests and activities. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm from Ribeirão Preto, one of the campus of the University of São Paulo. I am the vice coordinator of the Alcani over there, the international relationships. I work with emergency medicine, and I'm specialized in healthcare system and flow of patients through the system. So, and I actually, we have a lot of fields over there. We are working with artificial intelligence, and one of the topics that you mentioned is the we have several three agreements with Colombian and Ecuadorian universities, and we are graduating people from there over here, faculty members. So if you are interested, I have some connections with the council, the councils over there, and we can discuss that. In the healthcare system, we use a lot of flow simulation that use a lot of game simulations to do a lot of planning. And because one of the greatest problems that we have in the emergency department in Brazil is crowding. So we have to do the simulation of the pathways that the patients go through in the hospital, so we can avoid crowding and diminish the time the patients stay with us. So it's a very and I can put everybody with a lot of collaborations in medical faculty that we have in Ribeirão Preto as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor. Now, I have the honor of inviting Professor Gustavo Orlando Fudaba Curcio from the Faculty of Architecture and Urbanism. Professor.
Good morning. It's a great pleasure to be here with you this morning. I'm Professor Gustavo Curcio from the Faculty of Architecture, Urbanism and Design. My field of research is visual design. I'm responsible for 2 research laboratories there, the image laboratory and the industrialization laboratory. I think it's possible for us to join the researches of many of the colleagues that have presented here. It will be a great pleasure to receive you and to make connections with you. And I'm also responsible, the vice coordinator of the internationalization office of the Faculty of Architecture and Urbanism. Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure.
Thank you, Professor. Now, also from the Faculty of Architecture and Urbanism, I would like to invite Professor Hugo Segawa to the stage. Professor, thank you for being here with us today.
Good morning.
I'm very impressed with this TikTok speed presentation we are having here. Maybe I was not prepared to make a... Huh? Yeah. But maybe my concern is that architecture and design has an interface between technical issues and human or social science issues. So I think that we need to enhance this kind of relation to understand the human condition of this relation between Japan and Brazil. It's very interesting that you say about the haikai in Latin America. My grandmother, my grandfather were leading professors of haikai in São Paulo. So this is the interface we have between this community in Brazil that is 1% of Brazilian population is Nikkei, we can say Nikkei. And we have the 4th community of Brazilian Nikkeis in Japan. So we have big issues for our conversation between Japan and Brazil. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Moving on, I would like to invite Professor José Reinaldo Silva from the Polytechnic School of University of São Paulo. Thank you, Professor.
Good morning. I am from the School of Engineering from a department called Mechatronics. I think you are familiar with this name because it was created in Japan by Yaskawa. But anyway, my research field is automation. I deal with system design and artificial intelligence, specifically artificial intelligence planning and scheduling. So the projects I'm being involved with, the first one is to provide a framework, a data framework in artificial intelligence to store and provide data concerning the Amazon forest. We have here a center called Research Center in Greenhouse Gas Innovation, and this is one of the projects we have there. The second one is applying engineering and automation to provide a framework to assist students and to provide psychological assistance to students and also health. So we are trying to build a system that can connect the student by the cell phone with a very quality sign and then provide this assistance. This is the project. We are trying to involve the hospital, the university hospital in this project too. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Now, I would like to invite Professor Kavita Miyadara Hansa from the Faculty of Economics and Business or Administration. Thank you for being here today, Professor.
Thank you very much for inviting me as well. So my name is Kavita. The main purpose I'm here is because I also work at the Provost for Postgraduate Studies at the university. So I think I can also help you with connections with all the 264 graduate programs that we have at the university, if you wish. I also take care of double degree agreements, especially in the PhD and the master level. So if you're interested to have students from PhD and master students making these double degrees between the University of São Paulo and your universities, I'm also here to help on explaining how it works at the universities. We have many templates, and we can also use the templates from your own universities. I also take care of the CAP Sprint scholarships, so funding for PhD students from our university to stay for 6 months to up to 1 year at your university. We also have scholarships for inbound and outbound of professors from both universities. So let me know if I can help in any matters. From myself, as Rodrigo said, I'm from the Business and Economics School. So I work with marketing, and my main research field is in sustainable consumption and marketing and ethics related to sustainability as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor. Now, back to the Faculty of Medicine of Ribeirão Preto, I would like to invite Professor Leandro Machado Colli. He's not here, I'm sorry. So maybe for a future occasion. Moving on, I would like to invite Professor Miriam Nuno Moore from the Physical Education and Sports School of Ribeirão Preto. Thank you, Professor.
Okay. Thank you for your introduction. Well, in fact, I didn't expect that I would explain something about, but I'm on behalf of our school. Is physical education and sport. So myself, I do research on sociological and pedagogical issues relating to sports coaching. So particularly in some modalities of sports is gymnastics. So my purpose here is to listen to your university's proposals, as we still don't have a PhD program in our school because we have only master. Our school is very new. It's almost 15 years. So we just developing our research programs, our partnerships. We have a partnership with the University of Tsukuba, but it's mainly for the mobility of our students for short and mid-terms. So in a very near future, we'll have our PhD program. So we intend to send and to have some students from Tsukuba. So, yoroshiku onegaishimasu.
Thank you, Professor. I have the honor of inviting Professor Sayuri Miyamoto from Institute of Chemistry of the University of São Paulo. Thank you for your presence, Professor.
Thank you. It's a great pleasure to be here. So I'm working at the Institute of Chemistry. We are a quite big institute with around 100 professors. We have a chemistry department. Myself, I'm at the biochemistry department. So if someone wants to connect with professors at the chemistry or biochemistry field, you can contact me. My research field, I work with lipid biochemistry. Nowadays, we are using omics strategies, as he said. We use proteomics, metabolomics, and especially lipidomics to identify disease biomarkers, especially in the neurodegenerative disease fields. So that's it, and it's really great to be here. Thank you.
Professor. Now I would like to invite Professor Márcio Lobo Neto from the Polytechnical School of São Paulo, of University of São Paulo. Thank you, Professor.
So it's my pleasure also to be here to talk to you. In fact, I was in Japan shortly, so 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago. I even visited Klaus and Rodrigo and colleagues in Tsukuba. So my field of research is in cognitive systems. I am associate professor at the engineering school, Escola Politécnica. Applications, for instance, on urban mobility and other areas. But in fact, I'm also currently the president of the international office. And due to that, I would be very glad to talk to all of you about possibilities to strengthen the student mobilities, to work together on projects. We've been already discussing this with Tsukuba. We would be delighted to extend this discussion to other colleagues here from the Japanese universities, and particularly also what also Professor Kavita mentioned, the idea of double degrees in doctor level, okay, but then focused at the engineering programs. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. I would like to just confirm if Professor Marcelo Tadeu Motokane is present. Thank you for being with us today, Professor, from USP, University of São Paulo. Thank you for your presence.
Good morning, everyone. I am from Faculty of Philosophy, Science and Letters of Ribeirão Preto. Our institute has 10 courses of graduation, like science education, pedagogy, biology science, chemistry, music, a lot of courses of graduation, and my research field is about science education. I work with biodiversity education and literacy education for emancipation from the students in a rural area in Ribeirão Preto. We have with researches with schools and basic schools, and we have with social and educational movements in these areas. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor. And just to be certain, is there any professor present here that have failed to introduce? I believe everyone has been properly introduced. I would like to thank you all for participating in this workshop and apologize for the TikTok short format. And also to invite you two opportunities to further continue this discussion. One is, right now, we are going to move on with the next session where we're going to perform a tour at Alcani to show the world corners and the satellite office of University of Tsukuba. So you're more than welcome to join. And you're also more than welcome to join the workshop for academic collaboration that we are performing tomorrow at Japan House, São Paulo, from 9:30 a.m. And we know that this is a short time, but let's keep these conversations going and increase cooperation. We are very glad for the participation of you all. Thank you very much.